up and I'll do the knuckle thing. So, doing this large antique mirror, and all of the border work is 23 karat gold, and all this detail here, but the letters I'm doing in what's called schlag, which is it's metal leaf, not technically gold leaf. It's several metals that look gold, but it allows for a different technique, and since this is all going to be heavily antiqued, this section here, I earlier applied what's called oil size, which is a clear varnish that is going to, essentially a glue that's going to hold the gold. And if you bring the mic up, you can hear that squeak that you get with your knuckle, and that tells me that it's ready to accept the leaf. And this has been on here about 40 minutes, maybe 45, which is faster than you would do normally, like on a surface gild, but with this antique effect that I do, that's the right timing, so that's why it's there. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the schlag, which again is the imitation leaf. And when this is all completed, this whole background is going to be silver leafed that then gets heavily antiqued, and that'll be water gilded. So just like this here, it's going to look like a mirror. So you'll have antique silver mirror, you'll have the 23 karat antique gold border, and then all of this here is what I'm putting on next.
Sean, what's the size of this piece?
This is, I think it's 54 by 53. It's almost a square, it's about an inch different. Now, when I laid this genuine gold leaf, that gets laid with a totally different process. That's water, a water solution with food grade gelatin in it, and distilled water. And the way the leaf is handled, because it's so delicate, when it's genuine leaf, is very different. The leaf that I'm putting on here, because metal leaf is so much thicker, I can handle it with my hand. And so I'll be placing these leaves on, and then with this little soft brush, getting it to push down onto the letter shapes. And so once that's in position, then I'm taking this soft brush to really mash it down inside that varnish so that it'll grip. And then you can take these little pieces, and these little openings are called holidays, and you can fill in those holidays with it. This schlag leaf is used pretty extensively by people that gild picture frames and do different kind of furniture work with gilding. You do have to use put a clear coat on it, which you don't technically have to do with gold. You do in some cases, but in general, especially if it's outdoors on something like a statue, it's just left because the gold is going to be more durable than any coating that you can put on it. But this is all done in reverse, and so it's all going to get sealed when all the gilding's done anyway, and all the silvering's done. So we're not worried about any kind of a coating on this because it's going to be sealed by the glass.
And is this piece for somebody's home, correct?
Yes, this is going in someone's home down in Fredericksburg, Texas, which is just west of Austin in the hill country. And So we were contacted by their interior designer, who asked if we would make this, make a piece for their bar area that looked like a vintage mirror. And so they provided the wording and requested this crest, and so I put together the design with the border work, and inside this area next to this blue is going to be a red, and that color of red and blue has some significance to the family apparently. So when applying this leaf on the glass like this, you're really, if you're doing it in an antique effect like I'm doing, that you're really not having to be super careful about everything being as clean. Well, I don't want to misspeak. So the glass has to be thoroughly cleaned, and there's like an obsessive process of cleaning this so that all this gold will lay and stick the way it needs to. But when I'm laying this gold, because I'm wanting it to look like it's old and distressed, I'm being somewhat carefree with how I lay this leaf, because the more little imperfections that's on this leaf, the better for the final stage, which will be flooding the whole background with black. Any kind of little imperfections at this stage are actually going to make that look even better. But this section here with these letters here is going to, the final look is going to be matte finish with some texture to it, because the leaf is thicker and the way it's being applied. And you're going to have that juxtaposed with the silver mirrored crackled finish, and then the gold mirrored border. So all of it combined will be really striking. So now it's just a matter of going back over and making sure that all of this gold seeps down into the oil size. And then once this step is done, after the silver leaf is laid, there's a distressing process that I'll do to all of this leaf, which will make it look genuinely very, very old. The size of this piece of glass is kind of the max out size. I don't really like, I've done a couple that are larger than this, but I really don't like to go much past the size that we've got right here, because of the issues that you start running into with transporting and everything else. So again, you know, this leaf's a lot thicker than genuine gold, and because of that, even the tools like this brush I'm using, a normal gilder's brush that you would normally get like the genuine gold's excess off with, you can't really use that on this, because it doesn't really do much to the gold, because it's so much thicker.
And so was this particular, I don't know if you discussed that before, but the design that you made for this, is that their design for them, this client, or is this something that they brought to you?
No, they just told me the words that they wanted it to say, and then they referenced some of the other antique mirrors that I've made for style that they liked, and so I took that information and created a design that that I felt would work, which I think this one's going to come out really, really nice.
Yeah, this gold, this up here, this border's so gold, it looks great.
Yeah. And so that's the first step on this. I'm going to end up having to do some patching. And then again, this is going to all get distressed. And then different sections, this is going to actually have copper leaf once I get that all cleaned up. And yeah, so that's the application process for the oil gild. So stay tuned.